Right. Okay, guys, we're just gonna get we're just gonna be kicking off this podcast series. I've been just meeting really interesting people in the community that I just would love to host and get to know and kind of share what they've got going on. And Cajukiku is definitely one of those people. I'm excited to jump into this. We're going to be talking about all things entrepreneurship, the food industry, streaming. We're going to get into a lot of really cool things. But first, we're going to get started just with Kajukiku just talking about his journey, giving us a little bit of background into himself. And if y'all have any questions, definitely drop some. This is we're kicking off a brand new series, so we'll be working through some kinks as we already have. But yeah, go ahead and give us just a little bit of a background of what you're doing, and just how we'll start with how you got into streaming, and then into the food industry, and if they're in tandem, like go for it, mix it up. Oh, hold on, I can't hear you. Why can't I hear you?
No, 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 no. I muted myself. I muted
Oh, oh,
myself.
okay.
Okay, okay, okay. Okay, so they're actually not in tandem. They actually aren't like together, but I do them together, considering I cook and I stream. But I started streaming like in 2012. I think I was playing like League of Legends back then. That was like my video game of choice. But if we had to really sit here and think about why I started streaming, probably because of our high school team teacher. Because we actually are high school friends.
Yeah.
We went to the same high school. We were on the same band. We were in band together. We were on
Yeah.
the same drum line together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We both play percussion, so we've known each other a long time. But it's actually Mr. Seamster. I don't know if you ever met him, but he was a history teacher that I had. He introduced me to a video game back then called like World of Warcraft. And whenever that game is my life, I still play that game. I play that game to this day. If you ever on Twitch and it's not a Wednesday and I'm not doing a cooking stream, I'm playing usually playing World of Warcraft, and I'm actually excellent at it. But that's kind of the whole reason that I started streaming is because I just played video games so much, and I was just like, man, my friends are always telling me like, you're good, you're good, you're good. Why don't you like video record yourself, do this, do that, and I never did it until really recently. Like I would stream back then, but it was always so intermittent. Like I would stream really well for like a month, and then I wouldn't stream for like months on end. But because of the pandemic, that really allowed me to transition into being like a full time streamer. Like I stream almost every single day except for the weekends now, which is kind of cool because it's like a job
Yeah.
because I'm always like streaming. Like if I stream and it's a day where it's not like the weekend or something like that, I usually stream for about 10 hours
Oh,
because
wow,
I'm
nice.
just yeah, yeah. That's I just found out that that's a lot of hours.
That is a
Is
lot
that
of hours. I don't know how people do it. I do see people doing it, and I don't know how you do it, but like,
mm.
props. I think it's a good way to like build your stream and stuff, being available that long.
I think yeah, it is, and it actually is turning out to be kind of that way because when I first started off, I would get like 0 to 1 people watching me, and now my average is like 7, and it's like steadily growing, and I'm like, holy shit, dude! Like this is actually pretty cool. People actually enjoy the content that I'm like creating, and then like a lot of the guys that watch me to play World of Warcraft, in turn, actually start turning out on like Wednesdays for when me and my girlfriend are doing our cooking stream.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So we went to high school together in our small town. Were you always in that small town, or did you move to how did you get involved? I don't want to give too much away, but I believe you're originally from Louisiana, and then you somehow made
Hmm.
it into Texas. So,
I'm from New
how
Orleans.
yeah, how old were you? Which,
Ooh.
by the way, New Orleans is like one of the most magical places I think I've ever been. And not only is it magical, and when I say magical, like legit, the food, y'all, the food. It was some of the best food I've ever I didn't have one bad meal. not one bad meal in New
Not
Orleans.
one?
No, not one.
What?
And
That's
it was
crazy.
phenomenal. Anyway, so you're from New Orleans. How old are you when you get into Texas?
I
And
think I was either 12 or 13. I want to
okay.
say that I was 12. I was 12 when I moved from New Orleans to Texas.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So like middle school and then you get into high school and then like after high school, like what does that look like? What does your journey look like from there? Did you get into the food industry then or
Nah, dude,
no?
nah. So even another teacher was another reason why I got into IT. Like in high school, it was only video games, anime, computers.
Yeah.
Those are the only three things I cared about, and especially whenever I got out of band, that's really all my life was like consumed with. So I was like, well, I'm not Asian enough to do the anime thing. I like video games, but I don't want it to be my job, and kind of how it's turning out to be now. But I like IT enough to where it's like, okay, I can do this, and it'll be good enough for me to like make money. So I've honestly always been doing some kind of IT, computer maintenance, like developmental thing up until 2015.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's what really transitioned me into food. But that wasn't even what started it. Like I was actually doing like this network marketing thing called like Kayani.
Mhm.
And I don't even know if you remember when I think I remember reaching out to you before about it and stuff like that. But
I vaguely remember. I don't even how long ago was that?
that was 2015, dude.
I was in
That was
China
2000. You were in China.
at that
You were
time.
just about to move back to America. I remember. I remember. Dude,
Man.
we're Facebook friends. Okay,
Yeah.
dude, we're Facebook
Yeah.
friends. And I pay attention to my friends, you know what I mean?
That's
Especially the
good.
ones that still care about me and stuff like that, or just in general, like post about themselves. Like I pay attention to things like that. And that was like 2015, right before you came back from China. And you were also turn around starting to get into like your own entrepreneur thing too. So that's where I was like, damn, dude, like I have other friends that are doing it. Why can't I do it? So I started doing a network marketing thing, and I was like, man, this is cool, but this is a lot more long term than I initially thought, right? So like my start for it was really shitty, and then my end for it wasn't as bad, but it wasn't as good as I wanted it to be. So I was like, what can I do with this to turn it into something? And I was also going through like a really fucking shitty breakup. So
Oh.
I was like, dude, I know what I'll do. I just decided to turn on Netflix, and I was like watching TV, and I turned on Chef's Table, and I ended up binge watching the first season of Chef's Table all in one day. And I was like, dude, if all of these fucking misfits can become chefs, I can become a chef.
Yeah.
And then that's what kind of transitioned it into it. And like a week or two later, I went to the Dallas Art Festival, or the Deep Ellum like art
Oh
festival that
yeah,
they
it's
have.
dope. I've been. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
good.
it's simply amazing. And there was a food vendor out there. His name's Josh Harmon. That's my chef. That's the guy who taught me pretty much everything that I know. But he had a vegan pulled pork bao bun, right? But it was literally just it was just a smoked barbecue mushrooms. That's all that it was inside of the bao bun with some sauce, and I was just like, what is this? Because it was like the first time I ever had. Yes, literally, I was like, wow. Like it was the first time that I really had vegan food, and it was the first time I had vegan food that like tasted good.
Yeah, I feel that.
Like,
I remember that. I can't remember the meal, but I remember the experience being like, wow, this can actually taste good. Because for
yeah,
a hot second, it did not taste that good.
no, not at all, dude. There's still even so many people who have like restaurants, and now I've been a chef now for like a few years now that I feel confident. I'm just like, dude, like you don't have enough flavor in this. I was like, what is this? Like people will replace soy with things when I'm just like, bro, isn't it cheaper and better just to get raw vegetables for this dish? Like this dish originally had vegetables in it. Why are you replacing it with like soybeans and stuff like that? I was like, this makes no sense. But like it all depends upon the chef also too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You could have the most amazing ingredients in the world, but if they don't know what they're doing with it, you know,
Yeah.
you can only
Or
do
you can
so
have the
much.
shittiest. You can
Yeah,
have the worst too.
yeah.
And then turn it into like a beautiful feast.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Cool. So, what are you doing now with that? Like, so you you met this chef who kind of showed you the ropes.
Mhm.
And how did that blossom into what you're doing now?
How did that blossom into Kajukiku itself?
Yeah, how did that
Because,
happen?
and if you don't know, actually, Kajukiku is a made up word that I made up, but it's short for Cajun King
King.
Kuma.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yep. So it's my own word, but it's what I do now with it is literally the simple way to put it is just I just do pop ups. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like I do pop ups at like bars or like clubs that are pretty safe and stuff like that that allow me to have the distance from like people and still like take orders and stuff like as if like I was kind of like at McDonald's or something like that. But what I do exactly with that now is on Fridays and Saturday nights I have like a residency. Like I am the head chef at the Nines.
Nice.
And I've been doing that for about 6 months, and it's crazy because I actually didn't start my LLC, Kajukiku LLC, until the middle of the pandemic. Like,
Okay.
oddly enough, right? It's like, why start a business in the middle of the pandemic? And I was just like, well, I'm tired of other people telling me what to do
Yeah.
or telling me how to do something when I know that I like it this way and people like it whenever I give it to them this way. So why not? So for the past like 3 years before I started my official business, I was just doing small pop-ups like at small little different locations, and that's actually part of the reason why I was late today, and I apologize,
Oh.
but I actually had to go meet with a client who was like, bro, I remember tasting your food like back whenever Newport was popping, like almost 2 years ago. He's like, bro, you have to do the food here. And I was like, well, how much you charging? He was like, I was like, how much you charging for me to like come up there? Because usually whenever people call me and they want me to do pop-ups, they also like, oh well, you got to pay to come vend here. And he was like, bro, it's free. And I went to check out the spot today. It was a sweater shop. It was like it was a sweater shop that looks like a corner store from like New York. It was crazy.
Oh, really? That's
It
cool.
yeah, dude. If well, but you live far away. You're not in Dallas anymore. But if you were local, dude, I would totally tell you to come stop by.
Yeah. Well, I'm in Austin and I make trips every once in a while up to Dallas cuz
Mm-hmm.
got family up there and stuff. But yeah, I would love to check it out. And so this okay, so it's a sweater shop
Uh huh.
and you're like a pop-up in there for food or outside of it or how does
I
that?
so normally I would do it inside depending on like the location,
Yeah.
but it's inside of like a 20-story building, right?
Okay.
And he has like almost a whole floor almost to himself, but it's off into the corner. So it's like right outside of the shop. So it's inside
Okay.
of a building, but right outside of it, which is really cool because it's kind of almost like a fairground type of thing that he's got going on. So he's gonna have a DJ there, and then I'm gonna be doing food, and then they also have like a photo booth, and then hopefully he said he has like tables for people to sit down and stuff. It just seemed like a really
Nice.
cool like family affair type
Yeah.
of like chill spot type of thing.
So I can't tell you how. I mean, you already know this because it's your thing, but I can't tell you how smart it is that if you're trying to sell some food and get up and running, stationing yourself outside of a club, like those drunk people are coming out, they're
Mm-hmm.
starving or they want to
Mm-hmm.
avoid a hangover, and they're already like,
Mm-hmm.
some of their judgments out of the window already because they're drunk and they see like some like bomb ass food and they're like, yes. I don't care what it costs. Absolutely yes. And you can like if you are willing to for one deal with that crowd and those hours, you can make some decent money. It's also really great exposure because it's high traffic and people like it. They'll ask for your card and stuff like yeah, that's really cool. Uh and so you're
Yes.
doing a mixture of your head chef at a restaurant, and then you're doing these events on Fridays and Saturdays for just, and it's more like, is it catering kind of a thing?
So I'm not a head chef at a restaurant right now. Actually,
Oh,
I
okay.
was a sous chef at one a couple of years ago, but I'm the head chef of Cajukiku.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Since that's like it's a catering business,
Yeah.
and I do pop ups. And yeah, to answer your question, yeah, it is a catering business. Like
Okay.
so, I do caterings. Like last weekend, I did a catering also too. It was a 10-person catering. In March, I have a 20-person catering coming up,
Nice.
and tomorrow it's supposed to be like 200 people, but instead of it being like an actual catering, it's a pop up. So I'm expecting like 200. Like so, if it's like 200 people, it's probably like going to be like a quarter of that amount of people are going to buy food. So
Okay.
I'm expecting like probably like 50 people today, tomorrow, or something like that.
Nice.
And then when I go to the clubs, those are a little bit different story because one of the clubs I work at, I wish I could do it like right outside the door, right? Because
Mhm.
if I could do it right outside the door, then I would just be making so much more money. But because I'm inside and it's COVID, it's a lot harder to do on the corner pop up food things without getting like harassed by like the cops or the city or something like that. It's like, oh, I'm being as safe as possible, but it is still COVID, right?
Right.
So luckily the places that I'm doing them at allow me to do it inside so I can still be as free as I want but not as as strict, right? But one of the funny things is that at the club I can't bring any knives inside the club.
Oh,
So I
I didn't even
literally
think about that.
yep. I can't bring knives inside of the club, but I'm like, bro, like, hello, like,
How do I do my
I
job?
was like, it's been like one of the most challenging things because I'm like, I was taught like a super like traditional way, right? So where it's like, you use your knives for like everything, you make sure you clean your knife like right after you use it. It's not like something you just like toss to the side. Like if you worked at like a burger joint or some random thing like that, like I work in fine dining, and so I've always been taught that my knife is like my right hand.
Yeah.
So like not being able to use it for like the past like almost 8 months has been like,
So
and
do
I
you just
have
prep
knives.
everything before? Is that and you just come with
Hmm.
everything? Oh,
Yep.
dang. And you
I
have to
prep
like
everything.
that okay, so how do you deal with or have you gotten into a groove to where you try to reduce as much waste as possible? Because that's you having to
Hmm.
plan ahead and think like,
Hmm.
oh, I need I'm thinking I'm gonna have about 50 people, so I need to prep for that 50 people. Is that how you're like approaching it or yeah.
That's exactly how I'm approaching it, especially
Okay.
considering that I have to prep. So like here's an example. Say like on the weekends, on like just for Friday, I would use like 6 pounds of chicken. Right, I take those 6 pounds of chicken and I can probably turn that into like 100 plus tacos, depending on how it fluctuates, or it really just depends, right? So now I know that every day I'm using 6 pounds. So when I go to the grocery store, I go to like the meat mart, like I'll be like, hey yo, give me 6 bags of 6 pounds of chicken. So I know that every day when I go out there, I just like oop, pull this out, put it in. And then it's like, oh, cook it all off. Then I separate it and I cook it down so much that it just falls apart, which is what you want, right? So that already cuts out like the whole like cutting part and stuff like that. And then it's like I use Oaxaca cheese, and the Oaxaca cheese actually has been a challenging thing for me
Mm.
because I prefer to pull it, right, just pull it with the strings and stuff like that. But then my sous chef that I have, he's like, oh, I'll just cheese grate it because it's easier. So now I need to go find a new cheese grater and hope they're not like, yo, bro, you can't bring that cheese grater into the club, bro. Like that could be considered a weapon. But luckily they haven't said anything about it, so we've just been grating the cheese and stuff like that. But like, like there's different ways that I have to like go around it. And then like I can't bring in a fryer, right? Because when I first started, I'm not the taco guy. Like my cuisine is Cajun, Japanese, and Korean. And if you know anything about those aren't like things that are like quick, fast to go type of things. Unless you get like go to New Orleans, you get like a po' boy, or you get like fried chicken wings like off the corner store or corner street in like in Japan or like Korea. But I couldn't bring in the fryer because I was like, oh, I'll do like chicken wings or something like that. People love that. Can't do that.
Okay.
I don't have an open air vent above me.
Mhm.
So it's been like challenging trying to learn what I can do. So it's slowly transitioned into tacos. But I was already doing elote before, and everybody loves my elote. So going to the tacos was like, oh, okay, it's kind of easy. But at the same time, I didn't want to because everybody else did tacos. I don't
Mm.
like doing what everybody else does, but at the moment, I have to. At the
Yeah.
moment, I have to.
So like in a perfect world, what would you be serving?
In a perfect world, I would definitely be doing chicken wings. I
Oof.
would definitely
That is my weakness.
130% be doing like 5-piece chicken wing combos with some nice crispy fries, and then you get like my elote with it, bro. Like,
For
it would
people who
be.
don't know what elote is, what is it?
Elote is literally corn in a cup. It's a Mexican like street style food where they get corn, They put like mayonnaise inside of it and butter, and then they'll top it off with kohiha cheese, which is like usually it's almost something close to Parmesan cheese,
Mm,
right?
mm,
It's just a
mm.
better tasting Parmesan cheese or the Mexican version of Parmesan cheese, right? But mine's is a lot more evolved. I instead of just boiling my corn, I make a miso soup and I boil my corn inside of a miso soup,
Oh,
right?
nice.
Yes, yes. And then I use vegan butter also too, so the dish is 100% vegan.
Nice.
Just even from the beginning. So I use vegan butter, but instead of just regular butter, I use miso butter. And miso is a fermented Japanese paste. So that right there already lets you know that this ain't no a regular like elote at all. Like
Yeah.
it's like definitely Eastern, and that's what I wanted to happen with it, and that's what happened, and people love it, and it's crazy because when I thought of this, I literally was just that one day like, man, I want some miso soup, and I was like, man, what goes in miso soup? And I was like, corn does go in miso soup. It does. And then I was just cooking at home one day and made it for my girlfriend, and she tried it, and she was just like, and then I brought it to the nines, or not the nines. I was working at this Newport Lounge. Newport Cigarettes was one of my like first clients, and I worked with them for a long time. And I brought it, and I love that spot. That spot was excellent because it was outside, and I could do whatever I want. Talk about like doing like traditional Japanese sandos. I did like Korean dishes. I did all kind of different dishes, and I also pickle. I'm like an excellent pickler.
Ooh,
So
we
like
got
I
a
could
pickler in the viewers right now. Serial, my
what?
mod, he is into pickling right now.
What?
Yeah.
Bro, cereal. You might have to message me later, man, and trade some secrets with me, bro. And I'll give you a little bit of my recipes too, man. I like pickling anything,
And
dude.
he's the
Any
same way. He recently pickled some cauliflower and he was like it smelled like ass, but it tasted
He's like,
good.
good. Cauliflower smells so bad when you pickle it, but it's one of the best tasting things ever too, because it just absorbs all that flavor, dude. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah,
oh
for
man.
sure. That's awesome. What's your favorite thing that you're cooking? I mean, obviously right now you're doing tacos, but let's just say like business aside, like when you
Mm-hmm.
come home for you and your girlfriend, like what do you cook? Like what do you love to cook or look forward to cooking?
Hmm. It's not that I look forward to cooking a specific thing. I actually just enjoy cooking with my girlfriend and just cooking for my. I
Yeah.
don't really have like a go to. I
Okay.
just don't. I just don't. If it was a go to food that we like to eat, it's definitely like Ethiopian, like Thai food. Ethiopian and Thai food. Those are our go to foods.
Nice.
Like if I knew how to throw down, or if let's say this, if I wanted to make like a lot of Ethiopian food, I could. But I prefer to get it from this spot that's like really close to our house because they just do it so well.
Mm,
So well. Like
nice.
there's a way that you have to make sure that your food is seasoned, and they
Yeah.
just they knock it out of the park every single time.
Yeah.
But if I had like to say for sure a go-to, it would probably be grilled cheese.
Okay.
Our grilled cheese and tomato soup is like,
Nice.
yes, man,
And
it's
that is
done. It's a
like a
wrap.
solid like classic, that's
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
something that you can always yeah, you can always go to. So so this is something that has kind of popped up in my mind because I've toyed with the idea of having like a coffee pop up. And I looked into like pop ups and food trailers and stuff like that. And there's all these regulations around it. Do you get around regulations for that kind of stuff, or do you have to have certain licenses? In order to be where you are, or how are you working with that? Obviously, that's different for like these specific regulations are different for every place, but in general, if you're serving food, you got to have certain things in place. Um, you don't have to get too much into detail, but like, because I'm assuming that has a lot to do with whether or not you can be on the street side versus
Hmm.
inside. So, like, do you just ride the oh, thanks for following, Spectacular Freak. Welcome to the stream. Sit back,
Oh,
relax,
thanks, man.
enjoy. The
This is my
podcast.
girlfriend.
Oh, hey, what's up? Thanks for joining. Jeez.
When you said the name, I was like, who the? Wait, that's Naomi.
Welcome. Awesome. Welcome to the neighborhood. Uh so yeah, how does that look like? Because like I was looking into like a coffee pop-up slash like what is it? Like kind of like trailer, not food trailer, but it's like for coffee, and there's just like all the stuff that goes into it. And I was like, not ready for that yet. I thought I could just have a little pop-up and like sell my little iced coffees, and no. No, 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 no,
Mm-mm.
no. So,
If you wanted it to be private, you could do that all day, every day. You know what I mean? Like if
yeah.
you just posted like on your Instagram and it was like at your home or something like that, or maybe
Mhm.
like in your backyard, you could do that probably like all day, every day until you probably were making like thousands of dollars or something like that every single time. But it's a lot of licensing that goes into it.
Yeah.
It was easy to get into because I used a program to help me.
Oh,
If anyone's interested, I would suggest LegalZoom.
okay.
LegalZoom has been like my backbone, and Kyle has been like my hardcore backbone. Like I love that dude. That dude has helped me like through every single step and process that I've done. And when I started my LLC, one of the main things I wanted to happen was I needed like an account manager who knew things about like Twitch and streamers. And they had
Mm,
Kyle, and Kyle lives in Austin too.
really?
So I yes. So like one I he wants to invite me to the legal Zoom building to do like a pop up because they invite all their like people who have like businesses, especially if it's like food and stuff. They invite them down there to like come and do pop up and stuff like that. But it's COVID, so and he
No.
doesn't even work at the office right now. But LegalZoom helped me with like everything. They helped me get
Yeah.
my licensings in order. I talked to them on the phone for like an hour, gave them a rundown of that. I want this LLC to cover me doing food, me doing streaming, me for like all the things of like my taxes at the end of the year. Um, but like long answer is that you definitely need to make sure that you follow the rules for everything, especially when it comes to food. Like
Oh,
you
yeah. You
absolutely
don't fuck
have
around
to.
with food.
You don't fuck around with food, man. You really can't. Like, it's not like owning a sweater shop and selling someone a sweater.
Yeah.
Like, people are ingesting the thing. It's nutrients for their body. You don't know how their body can react. Like, when I first started, I'm always strict with people. I'm always like, yo, everything that I do has some type of like seafood in it, because literally, like that's just the cuisine of how I do it. Even if it's just me pouring in like fish sauce in my broth, like I do it. And I told this guy, he's like, blah, 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 it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. He got home, he swole up like a balloon, but his wife didn't. And I'm like, bro, I told you, there's this, and this in it. Like, I know my ingredients because I make my stuff
Right.
myself. So I know how to list out my ingredients. And I even repeated it back to him. And I was like, he's allergic to this. And she's like, he's not even allergic to anything that you listed off there. And because I even keep a recipe book of everything. And I like copy pasted it to her, and she was just like, no, 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 no. And luckily it wasn't like anything too serious. Like he didn't have to go to the hospital or anything like that. But it's very important to be mindful of how you treat your clients or treat your customers and stuff like that. You treat them as like if you were treating your mom or something like that. He's like, if you know your mom's allergic to this, at least be mindful to repeat to yourself like, hey, there might be this in there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I feel you on the whole LegalZoom thing. That's how I registered my LLC, and it like if you don't want to mess anything up and you don't know what you're doing, and that's often how it's going on your first round, your first business, you like they run a tight ship. You don't have to worry about anything. It does cost a lot more for you to go that way instead of kind of
Mm-hmm.
like figuring it out yourself and doing it yourself. But at least, just like you said, your legal bases are covered, and that is
Mm-hmm.
so, so important. After you learn the ropes and you're like, oh, okay, I know what I'm doing, I can go off and start another thing and know what I need because I've been through this. Like, but yeah, I'm a big believer in LegalZoom as well, and they helped me a lot too. So yeah, uh, that's
They're amazing.
yeah, they're great.
Absolutely amazing. It was worth the extra money that I spent on it.
Oh,
I was like,
100%. Yeah, yeah,
I was very skeptical about it because I was like, man, was a little bit extra. And it wasn't like I couldn't do it. It was just like, man, like, do I really need this? And it turned out that I feel like I wish I would have got maybe a package above that one. I was just like, man, maybe I should have got this.
Oh, I know. I thought that too, but I was like, on a budget, balling on a
Mm-hmm.
budget, as as I like to say. Like at the beginning, I was like, I know I need this, but I can only do this much, and it was worth it. And I figured everything else out. But yeah, totally love them. Sallow Breeze, welcome to the neighborhood. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching. Kuma is awesome. I'm so glad I've got him, and that I'm interviewing him right now. Hanging out, chatting, interviewing. Um, so okay, so right now, because COVID has changed everything, right?
Yeah.
Um, and you're working inside. When COVID kind of clears, are you looking to get more outside and, like you said, in front of
Oh
those
yeah.
clubs? Are you looking to get
Mm-hmm.
into like a food truck kind of situation? Like, where do you see this going once everything, chills out? And while you say, I'm sitting in front of my window and I'm looking like real white right now because the sun that's coming through. So I'm gonna
Like
put my blinds
ghostly,
down.
ghostly white. I was looking at your cheekbones. I was like, damn, she's got good cheekbones, but why is she so like Casper right
I
now?
know. It's the sun coming in. But yeah, so how do you see like this panning out for you? Like, so okay, vaccines are out right now. They're trickling down. I'm guesstimating where it'll be like most of the population will be vaccinated by the end of the summer, maybe like beginning or mid fall. So we're looking at towards the end of the year and start of next year. Like, are you planning for something like that? Is what kind of direction are you looking to go with your business?
I'm definitely planning on making sure that it's more open and well known whenever everything like transitions. I want to start doing more like outside things. Like I have a few spots that are like lined up for as soon as things are actually able. I want to extremely want to do food at the farmers market, the Dallas farmers market. That's like
Yeah.
my big goal right now is to, as soon as they open up the floodgates for people to start like applying there, I'm like, yo.
Mhm.
And the best part is that I'm actually good friends with, well, I wouldn't say good friends, but I'm friends with two of the chefs that have done pop-ups at the farmers market before.
Oh, nice.
So I already got like a really good well knowing of what I need, how I need to do it, and I also got like people saying like, "Hey, this guy's actually good. He does good work," type of thing.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Cool. Cool.
I
Yeah, and
want
that's
I want that so bad, dude. Like
it
I
would be
cannot
so
wait.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. For people to try my elote on like a bigger scale than like just me working at a club somewhere people don't really want to go in the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah.
Like, cause if it was different, I would be killing it even more so. Cause like if I was doing it food at the club before the pandemic, I can only imagine how much more money I would have been making. Cause right now it's not bad. Right now, it's great exposure. Like I
Yeah.
don't pay to vend there. I'm good friends with the owner. Because I've been working in Deep Ellum for the past like 6 years now. Everybody knows me to an extent, and it's like, okay, he just lets me come in, do food, doesn't really charge me a thing for it. So that's why I'm like, this isn't a bad trade. Yes, I'm not making a shit ton of money like some people are, but at least people are starting to figure out who I am. Like as like a chef, to me, that's like the most important thing. And I don't get people coming in and being like, your food is gross as fuck, which is that's the only thing that I care about. There's so many people that come through. There's so many regulars that are starting to come through now that it's undeniable that, hey, Kuma makes good food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking like, I don't know what the statistic is, but a surprising amount of businesses are started amidst like an economic downturn, like
Mhm.
a lot. And part of what I was thinking is like, this may have been the best time to start because one, you're not going to get super overwhelmed right out the gate.
Mhm.
So like you're kind of like even with prepping and understanding how do I prepare to serve food inside a club when I can't bring my tools kind of a thing. and then kind of getting your flow, getting familiar, kind of getting your feet wet, right? And then so that when it, like, just like you're planning like ahead and thinking about like more high traffic places and opportunities, you are already going to be really well primed for
Mm-hmm.
that, instead of just kind of like right out of the gate getting thrown to the wolves kind of a thing, and like hoping that you know, swim and that everything works out like well. And we all know in like the food industry, like there's so many things that can go wrong or that will go
Mm-hmm.
wrong, and you kind of need to plan for all that. So I actually think that this is, you're very well poised for when things like open up again. Um,
Thank you.
so you're looking for, I think, yeah, farmers markets are great. Stationing yourself outside of clubs, like outside part, is really great. You know, I look at
Mm-hmm.
6th Street all the time on, well, okay, pre-COVID, right? Like, and I remember like getting out of the clubs on 6th Street, and you know the police on, I call them
Uh-huh.
the four horsemen, like clearing
Cause they
people
do ride
out.
around on the horses in Austin, dude. They do, bro.
And they all, at the end, when all the clubs are piling out, they like ride in a line to like herd all the people out of like Strict Street. But while that's happening, people are like buying shawarma, buying slices of pizza, like on their way out, and it's like a massive, like, it's not even, crowd isn't even gonna give it justice. It's just full of people, like a sea of people. And I've always looked at that, and I was like, I bet y'all freaking bank. And Deep Ellum is, yeah, that's awesome. That's great for that. Um, so let's say we got people who are interested in getting into what you're doing. You know, whether it's
Mm-hmm.
catering or doing pop ups or whatever. Like, so we'll first do it with the food industry, and then we'll talk about streaming. But what would be like, if people are just thinking about this, what would be
Mm-hmm.
your piece of advice to kind of like get started, or the main thing in mind that they need to have like as they move forward and take action on getting started?
What I would do, I would start selling to like your friends and family.
Okay.
Selling to like your friends and family, that is probably the biggest way to do it, because if your friends and family like it, it means that others might like it, because you know your friends have relatable friends with them, so they can share it with them and be like, hey, you know, my cousin or my friend made this excellent thing. Now it doesn't always work best that way, but that's a good way to get yourself started, and then transition it into, if you need to, just make like the best way in my opinion is to make like an Instagram page and focus
Okay.
that towards it, because people on Instagram love food.
Yeah.
Like, undeniably they love food. And if you know how to do TikToks, make a TikTok also too. But I suck at that, so I'm not creative enough for TikToks, dude.
There is a learning
Everyone of
curve with
them love
TikTok.
it.
You need to spend some time with it to get it right. I hear you. The first time I made a TikTok, and I was just making coffee at home, it took me an hour to make that TikTok.
What?
Yes.
Are
It's
you
it's a lot
serious?
faster now, but at the beginning I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to use this thing.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, okay. So selling to friends and family and getting yourself out there on social
Mm-hmm.
media, Instagram being the main one. So why Instagram and not like, I don't know, Facebook? What have you seen with that?
Facebook's for boomers, dude.
It is.
What? Facebook's for boomers and
Yeah.
like 87-year-old grandmas.
Yeah.
Like, I post on Facebook just because I still have one. That's realistically the reason why I post on there, but I don't even really post on there. And the only reason people send me messages from Facebook is because my Facebook and my Instagram are linked. So when I share a story on my Instagram, it goes to my Facebook story also too.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
but ultimately, it's because Facebook is like almost like MySpace at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everybody knows how MySpace was towards the end. It was just nothing but ads and just clutter and people just saying whatever they want. And even, I would even say also too is Twitter. But the thing about Twitter that I'm noticing is that it's so clicky. It's
Oh
like
yeah.
super duper clicky. You can't be a part of two sections. You can only be a part of one, it feels like. And me, I love anime, hip hop, Korean, and I'm black. But I also love being a part of Black Twitter, but I'm also a part of anime Twitter. So like I'm not really accepted in either.
I'm just gonna tell for
And then
people who are
also
watching right now, if you haven't gotten on Black Twitter, you are missing out on some of the funniest shit I've ever seen in my life.
Boy,
Like
Black Twitter is
oh,
wild.
they go off, and when they go off, it's it's I've cried laughing at some of the stuff I've read on there. Y'all need to get
Yes,
on
yes,
that, both to get
yes.
educated and for just freaking hilarity. I'm gonna send you something later. Anyway,
Yeah, send me something. I need to see this.
thinking
I
about
need to see
something.
this.
Um,
If you're thinking about it, I gotta see it now.
uh,
Ah.
so I hear what you're saying. It's very clicky. I totally
Mhm.
agree. It's really hard for people. And here's where it doesn't make a lot of sense because I'm like, people are inevitably multifaceted, right? Like, we're
Mhm.
not like in one specific kind of like interest, right? So you
Yeah.
would think that it would have more flexibility, but I guess
Mhm.
like you have to choose your specialty on Twitch and
Yeah.
try to keep it there. I think eventually it will kind of loosen up, but I know what you're saying. I think that there's a lot of people just like you where you're like, "Well, I like all kinds of different things that don't really overlap." But
Mhm.
I guarantee you you're not the only one,
Yeah.
and
True.
eventually like there will be a community that comes out of it. It's just going to take some time. Um
Yeah. Slowly built, but surely.
yeah.
It's happening. It's happening because like I'll find because with me streaming WoW, like that's transitioned a lot into a few other things, and few people have been like joining my Discord server more. I've been getting like more subs and more followers and stuff, and now a lot of them are starting to like follow me on Instagram also too. So it's only inevitable that some of them are gonna have a Twitter and start following me on Twitter also too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So let's talk about streaming. So if somebody's interested in getting into streaming, regardless of whatever they're interested in, I know for you, your friends really encouraged you.
no, nah, they didn't.
Oh,
Well,
they.
yes, I said that they did, but whenever you said friends, I thought you were talking about like my real life friends.
Oh, okay. Your
Yeah,
online
well,
friends.
yeah, my online friends, yeah.
Yeah. So what do you suggest for people who like, let's say like they don't even have let's say they've got like a pretty standard computer or standard setup,
Mhm.
like kind of like they're like, oh, this is something I'm really interested in. I love watching people. I think I've got something to offer. How do you suggest they get started? What should they start thinking about doing?
Find your niche first. That's like your very most important thing is finding out like what it is that you're good at or what people think you're good at, right? Because sometimes you might be really shitty at something, but everybody else thinks you're fucking a Picasso at it,
Yeah.
right? But if you find a niche that fits you, that's where you kind of start branching it down, right? So, like with me, I originally liked video games. So every time I would stream on Twitch, it was always video game, video game, video game. And that at the time, it was like League of Legends. And then it transitioned into like World of Warcraft. And then I slowly realized like, oh, I like first person shooters, bro. So I would play like shooters and things like that. And then eventually I was just like, well, I need to narrow it down. I'm not gaining any traction in terms of like viewers when I do this. I'm not gaining any when I do this, and I'm not gaining when I do that. So I was like, what can I do to really focus it more for me? And then there was like a new expansion coming out for World of Warcraft. So I was like, oh, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to build an RBG community. And that's what's and RBG stands for Rated Battlegrounds. Inside of the game, you can like do teams of 10v10, and it's kind of like deathmatch style type of thing. So I started building a community around that, and that's what really helped me find my niche even more, because I never knew I was a good leader. Oh, I should say this: I've always known that I was a good leader, but until this expansion and I started leading my own groups, that's when I found out I'm a great leader. like to the point to where there are multiple people to where if I log into World of Warcraft right now, like randomly right now, at least 2 to 3 people would message me and say, "Yo, you doing RBGs today?" I
Mm.
literally had to tell one of my other friends today because he messaged me on Discord and he's like, "Yo, you doing RBGs today?" I was like, "Bro, I can't even think about logging into my computer and doing video games today." Like this is my first time I've been on my computer today. Like to do this interview with you. Normally, I can walk into my room, turn on my computer as soon as I like wake up and I'm done brushing my teeth to like check emails. But I woke up this morning and started cooking, blah 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 blah. But if you want to get started with streaming, I would highly suggest find a niche and then start banding together with other people in that niche. Or on Twitch, there's categories or communities, right? So I am slowly building a rep for myself in the World of Warcraft community to the point to where I believe one day it'll be great because I will face against some of these other guys who do have like bigger, much bigger Twitch communities, and when I go and battle versus them, I win.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I know that I'm doing something right and it feels good, especially when people who are my peers, and I was just telling Sushi this yesterday. I was like, "Bro, you're one of my peers." And I was like, one of the things I was like taught was that if you're one of my peers and you sub to me, I definitely need to sub to you. Not even like unless like I don't like you or some shit like that. But even still, like I definitely need to like return the favor type of thing.
Sure.
And it's not to be like or it is to be like if you scratch my back, I scratch yours. And I at first I was like what, but I already knew mentally too that well that's my friend. Why wouldn't
Sure.
I want to support my friend, right?
Yeah.
So those little things go like a long way, like a very long way. Like I have another friend who started streaming exact same time as me, literally exact same time. Well, actually, he started after me. I was the one who inspired him. And this dude gets like 20, 30 people watching him all the time. But he found his niche and it's Twitch Sings. People
Oh,
love
people love that shit. If you can
what
sing,
is it?
and here's the thing, you don't even have to be a good singer.
You don't,
You
he's
just
not.
have to you
Suge is
just
a
have
good
to
singer.
sing.
Yeah.
People love that shit right
Yeah, dude.
now.
They
Yeah.
absolutely love it, dude. They love it. And that's what he does. Suge is a Twitch streamer and he streams just chatting and he does the Twitch sings and people eat it up, dude. Eat it up. I remember one time I looked in there, he had like 50 people watching him and it was consistent. And I was like, damn, Suge, what the hell is going on here? Because I myself, I have my Twitch streams that I watch. I'm a complete degenerate. I that's my mindset when I play these games. That's why I probably can play for like 10 long hours like that. Like my group of people that I watch on Twitch are all pretty much World of Warcraft streamers. People who talk the most nastiest shit to people and some of the people who are the most kindest people also too. But I never really watched his streams. But one thing I made sure was that yo, my man Suge has honestly subscribed to me way before he started streaming. So I was like, I definitely got to make sure that I sub to him. And even if you can't sub, just a follow and checking in and just leaving like the lurk on someone's Twitch is just like way more worth than a sub sometimes. It really just depends on like how you can do it, but you really don't need shit to start, man. Like most computers nowadays, like if you went to like Walmart, well, I wouldn't suggest that actually because Walmart computers are bad. But if you went to like a computer store that sold
Mhm.
computers and you just got like pretty much like one out of the box, you would be set to be able to stream. Even if it was just like us doing like a talk show like we're doing right now, you could do something on that basis.
Oh yeah, something like this does not take a super powerful computer. Now,
Uh,
depending on what kind of games you want to play and stream at the same time,
mhm,
that's when you need to start looking at either doing your own
mhm,
build or paying a company to do it. Um, but yeah, I totally agree. At the beginning, I was streaming off of, now this computer was not even, it was not made for this, but I started
mhm,
with a 6-year-old MacBook Air that crashed all the
mhm.
time. But
Oh.
the people who were following me did like just hung around and waited for me to come back because they knew that's what I was dealing with at the time. And then after like just saving and saving and saving from my subscribers and stuff. I made my own build, and I've never had to deal with that again. But, everybody starts somewhere. I
Mhm.
would say that, and don't get too hung up on feeling like you need to wait until you have all the right equipment. I kind of just like
Mhm.
I'm just like just start. Have an idea
Yeah.
of what you want to do, right? Have an idea of like your niche, and then just start with what you got. You know, cuz either way it's just going to take time to build that. So, um yeah, which by the way, I wanted to ask, what mic are you using? Cuz I'm looking at mics right now and it's real good. Your mic is
It,
very good.
if you're balling on a budget, you can. Nah, but it's the Shure mic. It's the Shure mic.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
SHURE. Yeah,
Yeah.
SHURE. Yeah, this Shure mic. You need to get a Shure. If you want my setup, you got to get a Shure mic. You got to get this cloud compressor, and you also have to get a mixer.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is, if you want to get this mic, you can totally get this mic, right? And you can get a much smaller mixer than what I got. But I got my mixer the size that I got because I plan on doing podcasts with my friends from my house. And
Okay,
I've
cool.
done a few podcasts with them, but it was super like one mic, like, oh, this mic sucks type of thing.
Mm,
And now I actually have like a studio mic that
mm.
I can plug into my mixer and it makes my voice actually sound like this. And this took a minute, dude. Like I really think that I didn't get my microphone set until like probably December and I had like all of this since like September. It was a lot of me learning how to do it on my own, messing with the knobs and stuff like that because yeah, we've messed with music like all our life, but I've never messed with like electronic music like this.
Yeah.
So it took a
Okay.
while to set up.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, finding your niche. What has been the key to you bringing your A game? Now, this, it does, I mean, if it's like equipment related, if it's attitude related, whatever it is, like, what is it that helps you? Because we all have our off days, right? We all have our
Hmm.
days where we're like, okay, I have this scheduled. I am not feeling this.
Hmm.
On the days where you're just like, no way, how do you bring your A game?
I bring my A game by simply doing only the things that I enjoy.
That is good
That's
advice.
it.
That is good
That's
advice.
plain and simple, dude. Literally it. I only do things that I enjoy. A lot of people get mad at it. A lot of people feel indifferent about it, but at least I'm happy. I'm happy with the way my life is turning out right now. It could be a lot better, and don't worry, it will be a lot better. But because I'm doing it the way that I want to do it, and I'm
Hmm.
enjoying the way that I'm going about doing it, it's going to take time.
Yeah.
And I don't mind that because every day that I wake up and I turn on my stream, it's not because I'm forced to, not
Yeah.
because this is the main thing that I make money from. It's because I just want to do it and have fun and enjoy myself.
Yeah.
Like realistically, that's like like there's no other way to simply put it. Like if you don't enjoy it, don't do it.
Yeah,
Don't
it won't
force yourself to
last.
do
It
something.
won't
Yeah,
last.
it won't last. It won't last. And that's kind of like what the Kayani thing turned into. It kind of turned into something being like, man, like, ugh, I don't really like this. You know what I mean? Like I don't
Yeah.
enjoy it anymore. Like it's a lot of faking it till I make it. And I don't really like faking it till I make it because if I can't have it, I'm just gonna save, save, save until I can get it the way that I want to get it.
Yeah.
And that's also what allowed this whole like situation to like transform itself too, is that I had just saved enough for so long that I was able to get the things that I wanted. Like I
Hmm.
use this camera. This camera is fucking awesome, but I also use this camera for multiple other things. Like it's like, oh, this guy has a 4K cam and he just uses it for streaming. No, you're actually wrong. I use it to record myself when I'm at my kickboxing, to record my own videos, to edit them, put it together. I use it to take my own food pictures because I'm my own professional food photographer.
Hmm.
Like I took classes on how to use that camera. So it's not like it was a tool that I just got and it's like, ugh, fuck it, it's just for one thing. I was like, you know what? If I get it, let me make sure that I have multiple uses for it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And not only can you write it off, right,
Yeah.
with your business, but like at the beginning, you are wearing like a million different hats because,
Hmm.
that's just the way it is at the beginning. Not only because you're dealing with a budget, but like you also, somebody once said this to me, and it was some of the best advice I ever heard. they were like, whatever you don't know or you don't understand how to do in your own business, you're losing money. And it's
Yep.
so true. Like, you
So
have to
true.
master these things before one, you could ever know how to hire somebody competent enough to do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't know how to do it, you don't know how to hire people to do it for you, or even like
Yep.
outsourcing it for freelancers or something like that. Um, but also in case like something falls through, you know how to immediately like fix it. Yeah, that's yeah, very good advice.
Yeah.
While you do this, I'm gonna pull up your socials so that I've got a link to give people. But give us your life motto or your life advice. What do you like live by? Kind of like every day, not something that comes and goes, you know, but like what is like a mindset or a motto that you are like, this is for life. This is how I look at life. This is what I always go back to when I feel lost or overwhelmed or whatever.
I learned this from a Michelin star chef.
Mhm.
Her name is Nikki Nakamura.
Okay.
She has a restaurant in LA.
Mhm.
Right? I don't know if you can see this, but it says every. My bag is about to. All right. So this is like my life model. All right.
Mhm.
Okay. So let's see here, guys. It says every day better in every way. Right?
Mm.
And it also says everything is done with focus, heart, gratitude, love, poise, um, faith, and love. Right? These are things that stick with me, and
Mm.
I basically do my best to remember every single day with every single thing that I. She
Nice.
had that written down on her board, and I was like, dude, I need like a motto myself, and that's
Mhm.
what I do. Every single day, every single time that I cook, or every single time I do anything, I remember that if one of these things aren't there, I know that I'm not doing it right, or I
Mm.
know that I'm not enjoying myself.
Mhm. Nice. I love that.
Intention, intention, gotta have intention.
Intention. So that is so true. I wrote down this quote. I don't remember where I heard it. I've got this quote wall that I've been collecting since like I don't know, middle school, but uh just you know, intention just being everything. Words being momentary, but intention being monumental, and it's so true. Like, why are you doing what you're doing? What is your
Yeah.
intent behind it? And that drives
Yep.
everything. That's awesome.
Yep. Yep.
um
Yep.
So for people who are still hanging out with us, I'm going to be dropping Kajukiku's link tree here. You can find absolutely everything that he's doing there. Everything from, you know, his socials to, you know, Twitch and everything. Do you have any parting advice or anything else you want to share? Like, tell us, do you have a stream schedule people can hear about what you got going on soon or this week or up next? What's going on?
Uh, I'll give you this. It's short and sweet, actually, and I learned it today. Well, it's not really that I learned it today, but it's something that I've kind of always carried with myself. And when I heard it, it kind of reminded me of it. But if you plan on being an entrepreneur, and that's what I am, I'm an entrepreneur because I do multiple different things that bring in like multiple streams of income to my life. And if you plan on being an entrepreneur and you're a type of person that needs like confirmation of that you're doing a good job and that you need like someone to boast you or hold your hand along the whole way, it's not meant for you.
Oof, preach,
It's
reach.
not meant for you. It's tough.
You're gonna be in
Tough,
the
tough,
desert
tough.
alone, alone.
Even the people you know and love to the day you die, some of them won't support you. And they're like some of your closest and bestest friends.
Yeah.
But you just have to realize that eventually they'll either jump on the bandwagon or they won't. But you don't need them to jump on the bandwagon.
Yeah.
All you need is for you to have confidence to put your thing in front of others. Because if someone loves it, someone else is going to love it.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
That's it. If it was a shitty idea, no one will like it. No one.
Yeah.
Absolutely no one. But if it's even remarkably like remote something or worth something, multiple people will love it, especially once the first five start to love it.
Yeah.
That's how you get another 10. And then, it just multiplies on from there.
Yeah.
Really, truly.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
That's
Well,
it, dude.
thank you so much for hanging out with me. Thank you for being my first guest on this thing. I had a blast. Like, thank
It
you
was
for
a
your
pleasure.
time. I know how crazy busy you are, like juggling all these things. So, like, totally appreciate it. Y'all check out his link tree. Check out everything this guy is doing. If you're in the Dallas area and you want to order some bomb ass food, you know who to hit up. You know who to talk to. Until then, stay safe. Like I always say, stay safe. Do what you got to do to stay sane, protect yourself, stay healthy. We're going to get through this. We almost got that vaccine, y'all. I
Hmm.
see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's happening. It's happening. So, um again, check him out, follow him, do all the things, and I'll catch you soon.
Uh-huh.
And I'll end the stream here, and then we'll wrap it
All
up
right.
after this. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
See you guys. Bye.
Peace.